Beautiful journey, and thank you to my committee and Lawanda, who's not here. Okay, a beautiful mess. I am mother, I am nature, and I think the title speaks for itself. I am a mom of 3. I have 3 little ones, Cecilia, Michael, and Layla, all under the age of 7. And I'm about to be a mom for 8 years. I just celebrated my 8th Mother's Day. And so, thank you. Being a mom has really impacted me in ways that I never thought could happen. And being a young mom at the age of 20 and then now I'm 28, it's been a beautiful journey, but also a messy journey. And if there's any mothers out there, you know what I mean. I came into this program, I had just filed for divorce. I was on this new journey, being a single mom of 3 and trying to find ways to heal my birthing body and the postpartum that I was experiencing. And I remember in that interview with Rosanna and Colin, and they're like, what would you want to do like your thesis on? And I was like, oh, something about being a mother and the pelvic floor. And that's what I was at, right? And then I took phenomenology, and my eyes were open to this new lens of ecosomatics, ecofeminology, and I was like, I'm a nature girl. I climb trees for like fun. How can I blend that into my dance work and heal my birthing body as well? And I think back on Eve as the earth mother, the first mother, and just that gift that was given to her to birth the nation, the human nation. And when I think of motherhood, I think of Eve, and I think of everything that's being created is through the lens of mothers, or birthing bodies, however you identify. So that really was the basis of my work. Then we get into dance and social justice, right? So how can I blend being a Black woman in this space, in this lens? And that's why predominantly my dancers are all women of color. And one of their dancers is also a mother as well. So it was very impactful to have women of color to talk about the racial disparities in maternal health care, but also make it entertaining, but also educational, and to refine our voices from being out in nature, being women, being sisters in nature, and being taken from our motherland into this colonized space. And I wanted to showcase that and how we took back our space on the stage, even though we're in this colonized space. And then we went back home. So yeah, that is a beautiful mess. That is my work. And I am so glad that you guys are on this journey with me.
Thank you, Mikayla. I can listen to you speak about your work for a very long time, so thank you. I was going to ask one question and then offer it to you, but I was thinking about maybe you could talk about how you created movement outside, what kind of focus you were on, both with the product, you knew you had a concert to put on, but that you were really also in process, like that's part of the work.
I'm also a poet, so poetry was a huge factor for me in this, in finding my voice for movement. Also, a little birdie from cohort 10 was like, everything you do needs to be about your thesis. So all my cohort 12s and 13s out there, everything you do needs to be about your thesis. So keep working on it the whole time. So every choreography class, every paper written, I was working on this project consistently for the past 2 years, and going outdoors, creating movement outdoors, using nature as a co-creator. and how the body moves when the wind blows, how the water feels on my skin, and just keep creating movement. I took my dancers outdoors. We danced at the beach, we danced at the lake and the rivers, we danced in the studio, but after we immersed ourselves outdoors in nature. And that was like that driving force, but also creating poetry that fit with the movement and creating that first, then creating movement separate and letting our bodies feel that, laying on the floor in silence, just listening to the poem replay over and over again until we could fully immerse ourselves with what this poem means in the body.
Beautiful. Well, congratulations. It was really gorgeous to witness tonight, and just so proud of you being a part of this journey. And you had so many beautiful ideas as we were going through the process, and I'm just curious to know, how has this process changed you?
This has been a beautiful process, and I owe it all to my dancers as well. Just being willingness to get themselves dirty and let bugs crawl on them. Shout out to Jade. And just, I had so many ideas. I came to you guys, I was like, there's water, there's this, there's a tree, we're in a tree, there's a whole thing. And then just allowing myself to, okay, if I'm supposed to be going with nature and I'm supposed to be going with the flow, let me allow myself to go with the flow. So ideas left, but new ideas popped up, and I was able to create something very immersive and to fully allow the audience to be a part of this ritual outside and fully be a part of this coming inside. And so they felt the journey. I hope they felt the journey, my bad. But just like allow them to feel this journey of what it means to be a woman of color, a person of color being taken into this new space.
Where do you want this piece to go from here? Like, in your dreams, where would you like to perform it again? Just thinking about.
Yeah, I would love to perform this again. I would love it to be all outdoors. I want the tree and the dancers in the tree. I have a tree in mind, but I want to take this outdoors and allow people to come from wherever and to experience this movement outdoors fully. I want it to be close by a river so the dancers are in water and just fully immersing themselves in nature and allowing the audience to be immersed in that space as well. But also take it to festivals, and especially for people of color, and give birthing bodies back their voice of birthing is hard. Being a parent is hard. Being a mother, being a father is hard, but we're doing it every single day. And we should be recognized a little bit more and have a little bit more grace to the people that are birthing the nation.
Well, I just had so many images of all the places that the piece could go in different iterations. So I love that you're thinking of expansion. And like I said, there's so many ideas that maybe didn't make it to this space, but that you can continue to explore and share and offer those moments of grace to mothers and parents. So thank you again.
Do we want to put it out to the audience if anybody has questions or reflections? Yes, in the back.
I'm coming for you. I'm patient. Thank you. Hi, Mikayla.
Hi, sister.
This has been my sister for 18 plus years. So,
This is my very first friend when I moved to California.
okay, that's my question. So, at the very end, it wasn't just you talking, it was other people talking. Who were those people to you, and how did that help you kind of put together your whole thesis?
Yeah, personal. The people that were speaking were mothers, BIPOC mothers, all. I have two actually sitting in the audience, raise your hand. These are my bestest of friends, who are also mothers, and our kids are very close to each other. And I wanted something personable. I wanted the audience to hear the voices of mothers. In that, yes, I'm up here dancing on stage, it's about motherhood, but this is really about motherhood, right? Also, it was very special to me because my grandmother also was speaking, and then my mom came afterwards, and then I came, and then what you heard was my oldest daughter's heartbeat. And it was the first time. It was the first time I heard her heartbeat, and when I realized I was gonna be a mom. And I was 19 years old, and that was the most special and precious moment that changed my life forever. So it definitely had to be included, because as emotional as it is, it's so important to acknowledge my little ones who made me who I am today.
Anybody else have a question?
Come, Lisa.
Hi, it's so gorgeous, by the way, such a joy to watch. I just had a question. Did you discover anything new about motherhood through movement, since that's a different mechanism a lot of people use to just like work through things more?
Yeah, absolutely. That's where the ecosomatics come in. I realized during like all of my somatic classes, and I had an aha moment in a class in Body Bartiniev. And it was my first June semester. And I'm laying there, and I'm so much filled with anxiety, stress. My kids are at home. This is my first time away from them. And then I allowed myself to soften into the floor. And I cried. And I told Professor Rosanna, I said, I've never felt myself relax before. I've been up here, and I've never been able to soften into the ground and just allow myself to be present. What are my kids doing? I'm on the phone with them every time, and I make sure that they know that I'm here still, and things like that. So throughout this work, I had to really find peace and acceptance with, yes, this is hard, but there's also joy that comes with it. There's also moments where I can breathe, and that it's okay to take time for myself. I also was able to work a lot on my pelvic floor, and I no longer cross my legs when I sneeze. So, yeah, so there's a lot of that, and also realize how much trauma was stored in the womb, an area, which is why I really wanted to work on that area and move a lot of the movement, the choreography from that place of the womb. So you see a lot of pliés, you see a lot of holding of the belly, and then also work on that with my dancers. And one of my dancers, Tasia, who's also a mom, and she just had a baby 6 months ago. She was saying how much this work helped her release some of that trauma and help with her postpartum and just being able to allow herself to be present again in her body.
I just wanted to compliment you on the outdoors. I don't know if you planned this, but the way the sun was going, you could see your shadow and the dancing of your shadow, and that was very beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I might cry again.
Mikayla, I have the mic too, so I don't know if somebody else is talking. It was beautiful, and being a mom, I really loved starting outside and seeing you do the solo where I felt the pelvic floor the entire time. And I loved how it went from this kind of spiritual universal place into the personal place for me, watching you dance. And I saw you as a mother. And then you came in and talked about the colonized body and the pain and the ugliness of what happened to the black body and the black mother body. And then you took it on a like, I'm not gonna let it lay there. And can you talk about that transition? Like, how did you not let it lay there? Because that's so heavy.
Yeah, oh my goodness. I wanted the audience to feel the procession of slave trade and coming into this colonized space. The poem that I wrote, I Am Not Fearless, I actually put that in the piece maybe like a week before the actual performance. I was like, I need to write this poem, but I realized I already had a poem for this. And I originally wrote this poem as dating as a black woman in America, where the feeling of lighter is better. And so just like that feeling of being stripped of my black identity, and how, yes, my skin is tan, but I have juicy berries to taste. And it might not be milky or honey, but it's still beautiful. But also it's fetish and fantasized about, and it's taken to a different level. I wanted protest, and as dancers know, tap is a form of protest and resistance. And so I had my tappers, and we were protesting. And that was why I took it there. Like, we will not stand for this, release me, and just that power, reclaiming that power on this stage. And that's why I did this poem, and I had my tappers to reclaim our power.
Any other final thoughts?
Yeah. No. I literally just texted him. I was like, your question's coming.
Oh, yeah. Woo, go Carla.
Okay, I've got one question. I'm just going to say that someone else had a similar question about whose other voices were saying the names of their children, which you've already talked about a little. And then the other question that I received from an audience member was that they asked, if I understand correctly, this piece paid homage to Eve, mother of all mothers. What does Eve mean to you and the story of the garden more generally, or how has it inspired your studies?
I'll be honest. The Garden of Eden story relies too heavily on Adam, and like, he's so important, right? It relies heavily too much on Adam, and then Eve is just like this bad person, right? But like, we don't acknowledge the fact that she birthed so many people. She was the very first mother in this garden, and the very first to connect with the earth. And there's something beautiful about that, of like her being here for the first time, experiencing this nature, and the realization that everything here has been here for the first time. We're all learning from each other. So we're gonna make mistakes. And as a mother, we make a lot of mistakes, and we're learning from them. So Eve is a huge inspiration. I write a lot about Eve in my poetry. I wrote that poem specifically for Eve. And she's just the mother. And when I think of Eve, I think of her connecting with the earth, her watching her daughters play, and be innocent in the white of purity of just watching this, like, oh, the snake, whatever, but like there's purity still in her, and there's messiness and there's dirtiness and there's this whole journey and this whole story. So she's a huge inspiration for me, and that's why I look to her a lot, especially when I pray and do my thing. But it's an important part of my story of how, not how I see myself, but how I want to be seen as a mom. Yeah.
I think it's time to let you go rest.